Dead no more. Patient ZER0 Chapter 18 Princes of the Universe. Is this death? Get him to the bunker. Stasis, we recovered his serum from Harrison Memorial. No, no, no. The peptides and DNA sequences of D666 Omega have to be avoided. His notes are very clear on that. Quote. REM sleep is off the charts, muscle mass is up some 180%. Come on Dad, you can beat this. I'm trying, but I don't know what to do. Don't you quit on me, bro. I love you, I miss and I need you, Marvin. I love you too, Em, I said. Eli, he's awake, shouted Em. What the hell happened? I asked. Take it easy Doc, said Eli. You've been in a coma for almost 3 weeks. What the foo? I began only to be interrupted by a kiss from Em. I love her kisses. Eli, why am I restrained to the bed? I asked. Well Doc, you went through quite a few changes, he said. Your neuro output has quadrupled and your muscle mass has increased as well. The last thing I remember is Cisco being shot. Punctured his lung just above the 5th rib on his ventricle side, I said. Wow, from what I understand, everything happened in a split second, and yet you have total recall with detailed accuracy, said Eli. Joshua, Jojo and Tank. What happened to them? I asked frantically. When you went down, Joshua took control, said Em. He instructed Tank to get you to the APC and he's been pretty much running things since you've been out of it. And Master Leon got the girls out. As I sat up the chain broke. I looked at Em and she looked at Eli. Eli, what the hell is going on? I asked nervously. Well, as best as I can figure it, I took the best of your formula and added to what you swallowed and now you are Tank times 10, he said. The cellular growth, muscle and bone density and neurostimuli are all off the charts. We actually are having a hard time penetrating your skin with needles now. I can also extrapolate that your lung capacity has increased as well. Dear, you have to be careful with this new body of yours, said Em as she ran her hands across my chest. What do you mean new body? I asked. Eli wheeled over a mirror. Everything was larger. My hands, my feet, my cranial capacity, and I could extrapolate that my lungs, heart and other organs were too. But there was something different. Things weren't just larger, but more efficient as well. My breathing was completely at ease. Usually for comatose patients there is labored breathing when emerging from that state. I also didn't suffer from any muscle atrophy. Not only had my bone density increased, but I now had redundant ribs covering my organs. My lungs and heart handled my blood more efficiently and which staved off fatigue poisons. My spine and neuro network was enhanced as well. It was as if I could feel the neurons firing in my brain. I'm guessing with the extra density and mass you are easily 300 pounds now, said Eli. Well, look who is back among the living, said Dee. It's good to see you up Marv. We were all really worried. While Joshua and T were here every day, Amelia never left your side. I think she loves you, Marv. I reached out to hold her hand and my hand completely engulfed hers. I held it as gently as I could, but I could see the pain wince on her face. I quickly pulled my hand back and my elbow dented the gurney. Baby, I'm sorry. Eli, you turned me into a monster. I yelled. Eli saved your life, Marv, snapped Dee. You all didn't tell him, did you? Tell me what? I asked. You died, Marv, and Eli brought you back, Dee said. Well, that's not entirely true, Diane. The bullet that lodged in his chest didn't kill him. It did, however, triggered a mitosis and cellular degeneration. The formula that splashed into his eyes and mouth caused the same change that occurred in Tank. When I added his modified formula we took from the hospital, it supercharged his change, he said. Bone now covers the bullet completely. Whether or not he is resistant to bites like Tank, we don't know. However, he does seem to exhibit all of the same attributes, just in an advanced manner. Eli, have you added DC blood to a sample of my blood to see if there was a change? I asked. The antibodies in their blood is usually aggressive towards the white blood cells in living blood. The mitochondria in DC blood emits a darker signature when it absorbs the healthy cells. A spin in the centrifuge should tell you if the DC blood or mine is more dominant. Wow, did you just postulate that formulation on the fly? Asked Eli. Yeah, I guess I did, I said. I don't mean to be rude, but can you guys give me a moment alone with my wife? Diane and Elijah exited the lab and left Em and I in the room. I held my hand flat so that she could place her hand in mine. I gently closed it to hold her hand. Look, I know this isn't what you signed up for when you married me, I said. I would completely understand it if you wanted out. I'm a mutant. What are you talking about? Snapped M. You're fucking gorgeous. A few times I even walked in and saw D staring at you with lust in her eyes. It's not just your hands and feet that got larger. Babe, I must be secreting a heightened pheromone, I said. How do you feel about me when you're not around me? I love and miss you. We all do, she said. Joshua, everyone has been concerned about you. And how do you feel when you are near me? I asked. I want to rip your clothes off with my teeth and do that thing we did on our wedding night, she said. Yeah, it's the pheromones, I said. So Joshua has been running things. You'd be so proud of him. He's firm but fair, just like you, she said. He's going to be thrilled that you're awake. I stood up and hit my head on a lamp hanging overhead. The gown they had me in barely covered me. It's going to take some getting used to this new frame of mine. Be careful, honey. I just got you back, I don't want you hurting yourself again, said M. I don't think that'll be a problem, I said. My forearms, hands, feet, calves have all increased in size and musculature. I think I've even grown redundant ribs and lung capacity. We're going to have to run some tests. I leaned over to kiss M and she fluttered and swooned a little. Do you know how long it has been for me? She asked. I need for you to get better quickly. We were still on our honeymoon after all. As soon as Eli says it is safe, I'm all yours to do with as you please, milady, I said as I bowed and hit my head on and dented the gurney. Are you all right? M shouted. Eli, get in here quick. I'm fine. A little clumsy but fine. I reassured her. Eli burst into the room shouting, what happened? I said. I have to get used to this new size. But before anything else, I need to speak with the council. Well, your vitals are off the charts, said Eli. I think you were more in a gestation than in a coma. Physically, I haven't seen anything like this since Tank and you've even outpaced him. I need some clothes, but I doubt anything I have will fit, I said. We'll borrow something from Tank and Henry until we're able to get you some clothes of your own, said M. Left the room in search of clothing for me. I was kind of anxious to discuss something with Eli anyways. Eli, before all of this happened, I was really on my honeymoon with M. How will my new physiology affect her? I asked. Well, Doc, that is to say, all of your parts still work, but they're just a little larger and more durable and perhaps a little stronger, he said in his best bedside doctor's voice. Could I hurt her? I asked. Could you hurt her before the transformation? He replied. You're still you. You just have to tone down your aggression and enthusiasm. You'll have to practice your tactile touch and sensitivity to balance your strength with sensation. In other words, I'll have to master myself. I asked. Exactly, he said. And with your increased learning capacity, that shouldn't be a problem. Eli, can you get Joshua in here please? I asked. No problem, Doc, he said. A few minutes passed and I used that time to focus on what I remembered about the day this all happened. Cisco stabbed Cyrus and poured some of the formula into his mouth. What the hell happened to Cyrus? What about Cisco? I had quite a few unanswered questions that hopefully Joshua could answer. T and Joshua came in together. They both ran over to hug me. I gently put my arms around the two of them so as not to crush them. I just have 5 words for you, yelled T, damn glad to see you. Dad, you had us so worried, said Joshua. Joshua seemed to be a little more buff himself. What happened to you while I was out of it? I asked. Doing all the things you trained me to do, he said. Jamie and I have been working with Jojo, Ronnie, Eli and even Tank. Strength alone does not make a good fighter. You remembered? I asked. I remember everything you ever taught me. You're my dad and I love you, he said. Y'all gon' make me cry, teased T. Joshua, thanks for handling everything while I was out of it, I said. Isn't this what you were training me to do? He asked. Besides, I had the best help anyone could ask for. Isn't that right, UNC? You know, what can I say? Remarked T. Joshua, what happened to Cisco and Cyrus? What happened to their bodies? I asked. Joshua got serious and so did T, as the laughter and joking stopped. Dad, I see even unconscious you still haven't missed a beat. T, Gerald and I are the only ones who know about this. Their bodies disappeared, he said. After the shooting ceased, some of the Papa's pride fell and became DCs, some escaped and we rounded up a handful and are holding them in the brig at the armory. We never found Cisco and Cyrus though. How did you know? Just before Gerald shot Cisco, he stabbed Cyrus and poured some of the formula into his mouth. And when he was shot and the vial became airborne, some splashed into his mouth as well. The same way it got me, I said. The assumption here is that both Cyrus and Cisco are now like Tank as they didn't receive my refined formula on top of Eli's. Damn, two guys with Tank's strength and intelligence out there doing God knows what, said T, but we got two of our own, right bro? My mutation seems to be a little more advanced than Tank's though, I said. And the fact that theirs is a dilution of Tank's blood may mean that they may not be as advanced as Tank as their DNA sequences are a sub-factor of his initial metabolic stasis. T and Joshua looked at each other and then at me and said, huh. Dad, I only understood a few of those words, said Joshua. Yin and I didn't get any of them, said T. Cisco, Cyrus and I were all subsets of Tank because the formula was derived from his blood. But then I received a new more distilled formula based off of the original research and that supercharged my adrenal glands and my mitochondria processes as well as my cellular growth and production. We need to conduct some tests. What the hell did he just say? Asked T as he looked at Joshua. Joshua just shrugged. I have to calm down. My mind was racing and the words I was choosing were correct and advanced even for a doctor, but I needed to relax and relate. To quote one of my favorite TV shows, I'm better, stronger, and faster. I said, I'm not bionic, but I maybe even be better. Doc, you have a few people who want to meet you, said Eli as he ushered in three young women. This is Cicely, Tanya and Ingrid. We're told we have you to thank for our rescue from my deranged father, said Cicely. You have no idea what it means to be free of him. Yes, he was a monster, said Tanya. He did unspeakable things, not only to us, but to his own daughter. You were a godsend, said Ingrid. And I agree, my uncle was a monster. I'm glad we were able to help you ladies, I said. Now would you please excuse me as I am in a state of semi-dress. The girls left and Em returned with some sweats. I got dressed as she relayed the goings-on in the bunker, the plant and the armory. She caught me up on how Eli stepped up and stepped in. After Eli released me into Em's custody, we locked ourselves in our room for 3 days straight. Learning to touch my wife so as not to hurt her. At first it was her touching me, but as I gained a semblance of control, I would brush her cheek with my hand. Caress the small of her back as I held her. And slowly and ever so gently entered her as we melded into one, body upon body. Continuously Em would stop and remind me that she needed respite. I would get her food and water and then coax her into another compromising position. The next few days after were of me testing the limits of my newfound abilities. A tug of war against Tank, Henry, Brian, Joshua, Leon, Gerald, T, Jojo, Ricky, Robert, Ronnie and Eli, and I won. Calculations and computations faster than the computers that we had on hand. Able to hold my breath for infinitely with no ill effects. Running a mile in just over 2 minutes. We couldn't find any weights that could give me a challenge, so Fred and Tim set up some trailers at the plant and I was able to lift them. That's over 12 tons and I no longer got tired, but the truly frightening discovery came later in the lab. Constant increases in auditory and visual capacities. A 12-foot vertical leap. Instant and total recall. Eli was thrilled. 4 weeks to the day had passed. As far as I can tell, you are resistant to bites just like Tank is, said Eli. Can I take a look in the microscope? I've been practicing my tactile touch so as not to break everything, I said as I peered through the viewer. Eli, due to the fact that fatigue poisons are no longer a concern for me, did you look at the radioactive discharge of my cells? Where are you going with this, Doc? Eli asked. Does mitosis occur in my cells? I asked. Eli just stood there in stunned silence as he arrived at the conclusion that I had already made. Look Doc, I had no idea that your cellular structure would mutate into what it did, said Eli. So, you knew this was a possibility then? I asked. Yes, you no longer age. You are in fact, immortal, said Eli.